Well, two things for our poster presenters, by the way. One of the things I've noticed at research conferences, first of all, is that nobody ever gives applause to poster presenters, which is a shame. So let's go ahead, give our poster presenters a nice round of applause. A lot of work and effort goes into that and into the discussion. For the poster presenters yourselves, what I was just told is to remind you that the posters belong to UMR. We use these, to help inform down the line. So as you take those down at the end, you can just drop them off up here, keep them in nice shape. We're not going to have a bonfire at the end. We will want to use those. So my name is, I'm Jeff Ratliff Crane. I'm the Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs and Innovation here at UMR. And this is my first UMR research and, well, let's see, make sure we have the whole name here. Research and Education Symposium. What I'm impressed by so far is the extent that this represents work from not just our graduating seniors that are showing what they've done in their own independent research, but everything from work that's class-based work from our first-year students, continuing into our second year, developing and working more into independent work that was done off campus, on campus, in collaboration with fellow students, independently, with mentors, et cetera. It's the whole cross-section. And that is also not something that we tend to see in most research conferences. And again, I think that's a shame. This gives an idea of more of the process of what it means to become a researcher, a scholar, and as you're really developing into the work that you're doing. And the symposium does that very, very nicely. And I really appreciate the work from our first-year students who had probably no idea what this day was going to look like, and they had to stand there in front of a poster and have people come up and pepper them with questions that they had no idea were going to come at them, because some of us have weird backgrounds that's like, ooh, this is kind of cool. Let me go ahead and ask you these weird questions. Again, want to make sure that that students are aware of, so the Research Club is a new entity. And recognizing the extent that we have students that are doing work over at Mayo, are getting involved in research in a variety of ways. We want to try to have a way for students to come together to share their experiences, to process that, but also to help shape who do we bring on campus to talk about this? How does this relate to other kinds of things? Hence the reason for the Research Club. And you can sign up if you're interested in being part of that or having information or just getting information from that group next year. All right, so now I'm supposed to start a keynote. Again, well, this is the 9th annual Research and Education Symposium. And one of the things that again, I think is notable and connects, and this will connect back to, I think, my story, or what I would like to share a little bit, is our broad understanding of what healthcare and the health sciences means. So we're walking around and noticing everything from very basic science to much more applied kinds of studies. A lot of questions about stress and well-being that are being addressed from both a physiological and a psychological point of view. We're on display there. I gravitated towards those because that's my own research background, as well as use of video, use of different kinds of techniques in communication. And all of these things connect back to our broad understanding of healthcare and health science. Many of you, and one other observation as well, after doing this process of research, you no longer speak normal English. You rattle off sympathetic nervous system and glutamate and various kinds of other compounds and cell structures as if the rest of us understand what you're saying. In other words, your minds have permanently been poisoned through this process, and you are no longer a normal human being, and for that we congratulate you. But take that as a point of pride. I mean, one of the things, we look at research as being, one of the practices that we expect all students to be able to do. We understand that there's a level and depth of learning that happens with this process that really is hard to parallel. And no matter what your future career pathway might be, most of you are looking at careers as potential practitioners, as physicians, as therapists, etc. And maybe thinking to yourself, I'm never going to do research. Why are they making me do this? It has a lot to do with the depth of understanding of what underlies your practice. I mean, there's a lot of debate and discussion in education, higher education, the professoriate, about the idea of the scholar-teacher. You know, the idea that you want to have people that are truly embedded into their research, that will help inform their teaching, how they talk about what they're doing, and a depth of understanding of their field. And it's a marker of that understanding. Arguably, that also translates to those of you who are going to practice, whether, again, in medicine, in various in nursing, and various forms of therapy, et cetera. And what I want you to do, those of you who have been engaged in the research process and see that the practitioner role as where you're headed, to think about the work that you've done and how that has, and I'm going to assume that it has, made you think differently about the information that you're working with. You are no longer, in some ways, just working as a consumer of content to go ahead and spit back. And as a practitioner, you're not going to be able to just rely on that. You're going to need to be able to assess, to deal with a number of uncertainties in the information that you're working with to try to make decisions. And that's really what research is about. You're going to need to be able to go ahead and assess information that's coming in from various sources and try to make sense out of it. And again, pull this together in a way that you can apply it and work with it. And this process gives you a chance and a way to do that. I do know that a number of you, through this kind of research process, will end up shifting your path, and we talk a little bit about that. I don't know how many of you thought, you know, as a high schooler coming into college, for example, that that's what you're going to do. I know I started out pre-med. I was convinced, I'd been convinced and told anybody who would hear it since I was 5 years old that I was going to be a physician, and I was going to be a radiologist and all this kind of, you know, but I was going to do that, and I started out pre-med. And then I started out by accident, by pure accident. You guys are in a better place because we make you do it, and all of you do it, getting a research opportunity. No idea what that process might be like. And the first study that I was involved with was one that was frankly over the head of what any sophomore in college should have been doing, certainly not ethically. And it involved working with inpatients with clinical depression to take a look at the extent that whether neutral or warm interviews with these individuals would affect their stress responses to a challenging task. Now, none of you have done the Stroop task as part of your task, but this is one that involves having the names of colors printed in different colors of ink, reading the color of ink out loud, ignoring what the word says as fast as you can, while at the same time ringing a bell in response to an auditory clue. And this we were doing to clinically depressed individuals. And I had the role of doing the warm or the neutral interview. I was terrified. And it was probably not exactly the kind of thing that a college sophomore should have been involved with doing. But it did open, my eyes, one, to ethics. And a number of you guys, in talking to you about your posters, we're talking about some of the ethical concerns about looking at, for example, drug treatments and how those play out in real life. Looking at research questions opens the door for understanding some of the real in-depth ethical questions, not only what you're doing in a project, but also the things that we are doing in practice along the way. I went from that particular project to one where I was able to learn how to do brain surgery on rats to find out, if you siphon off part of the temporal lobe, what does that do with the rat's ability to learn? Okay. There was a lot of history to that, but that's essentially what, so I learned how to siphon temporal lobes off of rat brains. I was not going to become a rat brain surgeon. That was not my career goal. And the process, I ended up learning a lot more about neuroanatomy and neurophysiology through that than what I'd ever learned in any classroom. Certainly much more about the workings of the body. And also what happens when, as a test, you decide, your mentor says, well, we want to find out, let's use the frontal lobe as a comparison. Fair enough. If you know anything about a rat, they don't have much frontal lobe. As an undergraduate, I had the viewpoint that what I want to do is make sure I get all of it. So unfortunately, what ends up happening is disturbing the limbic system, which you don't realize until you've sewn up that rat and then you try to train it, and you realize you have a very, very angry rat. I have the scars to prove it. And went on to not take that as what I wanted to do in my future research. But that led me then to another study I had an opportunity to do. And that was one where looking at, and related to some of the studies that I saw here, what's the effect of exam stress on medical students and their ability of their bodies to fight off a virus. All of us have, or most of us have, at least the antibodies for the Epstein-Barr virus, the virus that causes mono. And with med students, you have a nice model where they take exams in a certain pattern, right? So they're all taking exams or they're not. And so we have a stress time period and a relatively, comparatively lower stress time period. And at the time, there was a lot of debate about the role of the way that the brain may or may not interact with the immune system. Are these completely independent systems from each other? I think we've got a much deeper understanding of that kind of interplay now than we did in 1983. What we did, though, and so again, part of this was my role as an undergraduate researcher was really playing in the background and working with the cells. This is where you discover the extent that no matter how tedious the task is, you need to be careful. That indeed, small mistakes and shortcuts can have drastic impact. And I think that's one of the other things we learned from the research process. Killing an entire line of cells does not make your mentor very happy. It's kind of like the surgery on the rat, only, a little scarier actually when it's your mentor. What we ended up discovering from that, it was the initial data showed no particular time differences in the effects of stress exam versus non-exam. That's the other lesson from research, is how to take information that you didn't expect, step back, try to make sense out of that, work with failure. There's so much that we ask students to do that seems to push against the idea that you're allowed to fail. Research is all about failure and making sense out of that failure and moving ahead. Secondary analysis of that data and information showed something very, very interesting. And that is that the medical students that were high in loneliness did indeed show deficits in their ability to fight off this, the virus. Showed actually increased levels of the antibody, indicating that their bodies were trying to fight off the virus, keep it in check. In other words, those that had social supports, that felt that they had other people in their lives, were experiencing a buffer against this kind of stress in their life. That was, at the time, a very unexpected kind of view of the interplay between stress and the way the body might react. And it opened up a whole different line of research and question. And that's the other element, I think, of what will end up happening as you continue on. I think with any of the people that I talk to with the posters, your research generated more questions. That's what to be expected. And that's why there's a lot more work to do. We're dealing with very big questions and issues, and each of you can take on a small portion of that. Impact individuals that you're working with in very specific ways, but cumulatively coming together to share that information to make a larger difference. I ended up discovering that this was a pathway that made sense to me. I ended up doing my graduate work in medical psychology, a field that I didn't know existed when I started as an undergrad. tying together my interest in health and well-being and the workings of the body with growing interest in psychology. Been able to then use that working with students and having students in some ways shape some of the research questions. So taking those ideas of stress and coping and the way that people use alcohol, for example, in day-to-day ways, to understand a bit about what happens in dating situations, for example, and the risk of dating violence. This is the way that a research track can often shift and change, and it depends on who you're working with. It's a very human process. So again, I congratulate you on what you've been able to achieve, your steps along the way. For the younger students, what I'd like you to do is really take a look at and talk to the older students. How did they get involved? What are they up to? What are the questions that they're addressing? Plan your next steps and use this for whatever you're going to connect to in the future. Thank you. Oh, and better yet, we've got more prizes.
We want to thank all of you for being here, our presenters doing oral presentations, and our alumni panelists, as well as everybody who's here to see and support all these students. Here's how this is going to go. We have one prize that was not claimed from the last round. We'll say that number first. If you're here, you better shout. Otherwise, we're going to redraw for it. Then we have 7 more to announce. All these prizes will be located by the elevators. So when they're all done and you go out and get some snacks, if you're a winner, bring your ticket and you can pick up your prize basket. So the basket that was not claimed from our previous round is our Revive basket, 631545. Awesome. Okay. So we'll check you off and then you can go by the elevators. For the next one, same thing. If it's you, definitely wave your hand so we don't have to redraw. For our summer fun basket, because winter is finally over, 631591. 631591. All right, we'll pick another one for that one. Redrawing for our summer fun basket. If that was you, you have speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, redrawing summer fun basket, 631511. 631511. All right, summer fun basket, 631485. Anybody? All right, congratulations. So if that's you, come on up and we'll check you off the list. Our next basket, it's fine, is our comfort food basket, which we all really need. 631528. All right, we've got a winner. Come on up with your ticket. We're gonna keep this rolling. Our next basket is our organization essentials. 631472. 631472. All right, great. That's okay. Our next one is our morning retreat basket, coffee, all the good stuff. 631493. All right, we have a winner. We have 3 more to go. Our next basket is our baking basket. I know. 631422. Do we have a winner on that one? Awesome. Congratulations. 2 more to go. Our next basket is our game night basket. 631567. 561. Six three one 561. Oh, congratulations. Oh, nope. All right, we're going to redraw this one. This is our game night basket. 631 465. And then our very last one. This is our Buon Appetito basket. It's like Italian snacks and really great things. You're going to want to win it. 631 468. 631 468. All right, congratulations. Thank you guys so much. There's snacks out there. We'll see you back at 6:30 for awards.
All right, well, I know that there's some folks that are still grabbing their food. And I do want to take, because the last time we thanked the committee, they were out in the hallway and they didn't actually hear us thank them. So the committee, the Research and Education Symposium Committee, has put in an incredible amount of work in planning and putting this together, and especially as we get closer to the end of the year, which is exactly probably the wrong time to putting in a whole bunch of extra work. So we want to thank them, bottom of our hearts. This is a fantastic event and for all the work that you did. They do take tips, by the way. So to wrap up the Research Symposium part of the day, we want to, again, thank you all, too, for attending. And at this time, we'd like to announce the winners of our Audience Choice Awards. So as your poster is announced, and we will put them up there, all the authors should come up to receive a certificate, as well as a gift. They have no idea what in the heck's in there, and you will get your photo taken to memorialize this. So we'll read these off. So our third place award goes to the poster entitled Rilazole, Limited Effects, Limited Access. All right. Oh, you got it on. Well, that takes away some of the surprise, doesn't it? You didn't see that. It never happened. But if, there we go. If we could have Kelly, Emily, and Michaela come on up. Woo. Are you the only living member? You get to take all their gifts too. All right, now the second place award goes to Caffeine and Reaction Time. All right. Oops. So if Miss Jacob, Tabitha, Nicole. All right, and our first, because you haven't seen it, our first place choice award winner is measuring heart rate on individuals consuming sriracha. Sriracha. So we've got Jared, Sarah, and Shannon. And then one last thank you is to all of you, really, the students, faculty, and staff. Thank you for taking part in the 2019 symposium. Your commitment, your work, and support for the students in doing this work is incredibly important, and we want to make sure that we recognize all of you as being part of that. Thank you. And then we move to Raptor Awards. Here we go.
All right, so welcome to the third annual Raptor Awards ceremony. We're here to recognize students who've been nominated by UMR staff and faculty and peers, students who have exemplified excellence in various UMR learning outcomes. But before we begin presenting the Raptor Awards, I'd like to invite faculty member Yuko Taniguchi to the stage to recognize students who are receiving a Distinguished Capstone and Capstone Student Choice Award. Let's hear it for Yuko. And Jenny.
Some of you may be a bit confused. I am not Yuko Taniguchi. But I am Jennifer Wasek, and I became involved with the capstone courses this semester. Yuko has asked me to name the distinguished capstone students, and she will present the students with their certificates. So come to the front and find Yuko. So just to explain the distinguished capstone, the capstones have been selected by the capstone committee. So it's a committee made up of about 8 faculty members. They have had a long and very heartfelt discussion because we had a lot of wonderful capstone presentations this year. So out of 11 nominees, the committee has selected 5 to receive the award this year. Distinguished has been defined or identified as students who during their capstone experience have gone above and beyond the expected learning outcomes, expressed their experience in a meaningful manner in both their presentation and their course reflections, demonstrated that they have impacted a community during their capstone experience, and they have demonstrated that their presentation was an act of leadership by influencing the audience members at UMR. So the first of our distinguished capstones for this year is Mohammed Adani. So our next Distinguished Capstone Award goes to Charles Brick. Our next awardee could not be here this evening, but Annika Shellstad is our next distinguished capstone. Next, for this year, our next distinguished capstone goes to Cassandra Jeffrey, who I also believe is not here this evening. And the final distinguished capstone award goes to Kao Lee Tao. So we have 2 more awards to give out for the Student Choice Award. The Student Choice Award is selected by student feedback during the capstone presentations. We have 2 awardees this year. The first is Brianna Clark. And then our final Student Choice Award for this year's capstone presentations goes to Dolina Sanavongsai.
Next, I would like to invite our Vice Chancellor, Jeff Ratcliffe Crane, to the stage to present the Faculty of the Year Award.
All right, for those who weren't there at the crowning the other day. So the Faculty of the Year Award is a student-nominated award and is given to the faculty member who receives the most votes in the Rochester Student Association elections. And then it's to recognize Jared Bright. Actually, it says here, have him stand in the crowd and wave, but that's okay. Welcome up. Jared has been at UMR for 6 years and 9 months. And how many hours? But welcome. But he's our Faculty of the Year.
And now, just before we begin the presentation of our Raptor Awards, I'd like to acknowledge that the idea for the Raptor Awards was the brainchild of Julie Thornton. And I think she can wave if she licks the nacho cheese off her fingers. And thank you, Julie, for that. A bittersweet day, a bittersweet week. Thank you, Julie, for all that she's done, including generate these awards. So the first award to be given this evening is the BSHP Patient Care Award. This award is presented to a student in the Bachelor of Science in Health Professions degree program who exemplifies the personal and professional attributes needed to be an effective patient care provider. So I'd like the nominees to please stand as I read your names. And when all are standing, we will applaud for you. So first we have Macy Caffs. Or we'll applaud for each one, whichever you prefer. But this is great. Yeah, congratulations. And Samantha Linsheed. Yeah. And Rhea Luby. Is Rhea here? All right. So I know you've done so much and have been working very hard. You can sit down now, and I'd like to invite the Program Director of Respiratory Care for Mayo Clinic School of Health Sciences forward, Vanessa King, and she will tell us the big news.
So my presence on this stage is probably a giveaway since I'm the Program Director for the Respiratory Therapy Program. It's really my pleasure to present Sammy Linsheed as the recipient for this award. She's a senior in the respiratory care track of the Bachelor's of Science in Health Professions program degree. So you're gonna blush a lot, okay? So from day one, she's displayed a kind and compassionate personality, and she's demonstrated her innate ability to earn her trust with her patients. And I mean from day one. She is a motivated individual. She's able to balance her respiratory studies and clinical rotations. She volunteers and advocates for respiratory therapy as well as for University of Minnesota Rochester. And she works as an intern in the Special Pulmonary Function Lab. She spent hundreds of hours working with patients of all ages that live with cardiopulmonary disease. And as the curriculum and her clinical practice advanced, so did her ability to significantly contribute to the care of patients. As an example, one clinical instructor noted, "We can teach them how to do all the technical tasks, but understanding that a patient might be scared or afraid to share their vulnerability is not something most people can pick up. It's an even harder skill to teach. Sammy has demonstrated that talent several times in my presence. And Sammy has demonstrated a tremendous growth while a student in the respiratory therapy program. She is really eager. She's eager to pursue learning opportunities, and she embraces every interaction. She accepts feedback and challenges herself to grow as a person. Conducting a clinical research project, as we got to read some of and see the posters, it can be a really daunting task. And Sammy approached that task as an opportunity to grow as a practitioner. So with a physician mentor, she and a team of students are conducting a Mayo IRB-approved retrospective research study evaluating certain outcomes with patients that require mechanical ventilation. So I just wanted to say her career choice as a respiratory therapist has been a really perfect fit. With her empathetic and caring personality, she demonstrates critical thinking and understands the importance of her patients' overall well-being. The combination of her respiratory therapy knowledge and her passion for helping others will make her an incredible respiratory therapist. So Sam, if you could join me on the stage.
Congratulations. Our next award is the Success in Academics and Gains in Education, or SAGE Award. The SAGE Award honors a student who demonstrates outstanding academic achievement at UMR. This student has acquired a high level of knowledge in the health sciences and related disciplines, as well as academic involvement and engagement. Will the nominees please stand as I read your names? Bradley Craker. Here. Philip Hoffworth. Danny Turin. Anthony Young. And we congratulate the nominees for this award. And at this time, I ask our Residential Life Director, Will Harmon, to come forward and present the award.
Thank you, Chancellor. This mic adjusted up here. So, hey, everybody. Gotta be honest, when I was asked to present this award about 2 weeks ago, I was a bit frustrated, okay? I thought, I was told who it was, and I thought, you know, of course, it's always that guy. You know what I mean when I say that guy? Well, if you don't know what I mean, I'm gonna have a visual representation up here on stage with me. Danny, could you come join me upstage, guy? All right, so what's kind of frustrating about him? All right, look at that smile, okay? His eyes squint, okay? He always has a joke, mirth to offer, a wonderful personality, right? He is tall. He's okay at basketball. And if I do say so myself, not basketball, volleyball, sorry. And if I do say so myself, he has a pretty good haircut. Thanks. But we all know that the SAGE Award isn't about those qualities. They're about the academics and the involvement and the leadership to others. And let me just get this out of the way. I'm a supervisor of residential life staff, and we get pulled in a lot of different directions. And it's very easy to let your GPA slip when you're involved in so many people's lives. And this guy exceeds academically. I'm not saying he does well. I'm saying he does amazingly. He kept it up. And as a supervisor, I thought that was great because I didn't have to worry about him pulling our GPA average down. So that was great. But I was so proud and so impressed with the way he committed himself to his academics this year. Beyond that, he's been committed to his living learning community, and he gets involved in research. He's traveled multiple times to different states to present fly nephrology, right? To people who also pronounce words that I can't understand, okay? But even though we have that reaction of, oh yeah, it's always him, right? It's always that guy. I will tell you right now, it's not easy. As a supervisor, I was privy to some of the stress, hardship, tears, right? The pressure he puts upon himself. It's okay, Danny, it's all right. This is what it's all about. Okay? The pressure he put on himself to succeed and to be there for others. If you think it's easy, it's not. He worked his butt off for it. And let me talk a little bit about why that's important. So one of your nominators, that's right, one, I wasn't the only one, wrote this about you. We organized a panel of individuals who have careers in research, including faculty from our institution, as well as leaders and researchers from one of our key collaborative partners, Mayo Clinic. Approximately 15%, and for any of you who are doing the math, that's about 75 to 100 people, of the students enrolled in our Bachelor of Science in Health Sciences degree program attended, which is exceptional compared to many of our other career exploration programs. The success of this event has spurred interest on our campus in research. We have more students applying to research opportunities than ever before, and this would not have been possible without Daniel's passion and leadership. Daniel's sense of personal responsibility and his ability to establish and maintain positive relationships with others, including researchers, faculty, staff, and students, are at the foundation of his success. It is apparent that in everything he does, from his academics to his countless hours he dedicates in the lab and in the UMR curriculum, that he has never backed down from a learning challenge. He is thriving in UMR's interdisciplinary approach to learning and often gets excited about the connections he is uncovering in seemingly various disciplines. He is a valued member of our research team at both UMR and Mayo Clinic, and when I talk about him, about his research experiences, he shares, "What I love about research," and this is a quote, apparently, okay? "What I love about research is when it seems like there is a dead end, a small idea, or even a failed experiment can lead to a whole new door of possibilities." Danielle is an exceptional student who aims to make a positive difference in the lives of others while also contributing to the field of research. And that's what I wanted to highlight about this guy. If we all took his leadership and did a little bit more at our university, mentored, got excited, encouraged others to get involved, imagine how amazing this place would be. It already is. I mean, I just had a conversation with a faculty member. He said we should be doing articles and research and getting on the local news about this last symposium. But imagine, our potential isn't yet already reached. And that's why Danny's so special to me, and hopefully to all of you, is because he's a shining example of what our university has to offer. Danny, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Will. Thank you for those thoughtful words. The Growth, Resilience, Inspiration, and Transformation Award, GRIT. This GRIT Award honors a student who, despite obstacles, demonstrates personal growth, goal orientation, academic discipline, determination, accountability, responsibility, and resilience. That's most of the students at UMR. I am proud to know you. From all those who have demonstrated grit this year, there is a short list of nominees who had an exceptional year, and I would like them each to please stand. Raphael Mosier Baglio. Gabrielle Bergen. Caitlin Gleason. Isaiah Graff. Morgan Groski. Alexis Lubenthal. Jacqueline Merton. And Blake Schollard. Thank you. Thank you. And would Senior Student Success Coach Jen Hook please come to the stage to present this award?
I have to adjust it back down. When I think of the words associated with grit, discipline, determination, accountability, the student that immediately comes to mind is Blake Schollard. remember a conversation just after Blake's first semester at UMR in which he said to me, "Jen, I am just not sure if there is a place for me at UMR." While his coursework was preparing him to be a physician assistant, he initially struggled to find a community of peers that aligned with his values and his vision for the future. His response was not to leave the university in search of greener pastures. Rather, it was to throw himself into the organizations he was passionate about as he took initiative to create his own place at UMR. He quickly became integrally involved with Rochester Navigators College Christian Ministry, and by his junior year, he was serving as their president. Reflecting on his own personal growth in this organization, he intentionally passed the reins to other members so they too would have the opportunity to grow. He served UMR as an ambassador, joined a directed research team, and became a certified nursing assistant, cementing his place at UMR and in the community of Rochester. While Blake's challenges around belonging and small hurdles like always getting the last registration queue time every semester have influenced his first few years, this past year has seen more personal challenges for Blake. His estranged father re-entered his life, experienced some serious health challenges, and then passed away. Reflecting with Blake afterwards, I see all of the traits he has demonstrated time after time serving him in his grief. He continues to create goals that he knows would make his family proud and align with his personal vision for his future, a vision which comes with an immense amount of self-reflection and clarity in the type of person and care provider that he wants to be. He has engaged this year in activities designed to increase his intercultural competence, engaging with the Rochester community in new ways to challenge himself intellectually and socially. He has invested countless hours in his job as a PCA, providing empathy and care to patients who have their own obstacles to overcome. He remains dedicated to his coursework, improving his GPA from first semester to present by almost a half a point, excelling as a student, friend, and a member of the Rochester community. No matter the challenge, I know that Blake will respond with the drive that has gotten him to this point in his journey and will continue to serve him in his future. Please help me in congratulating Blake Scholar.
Congratulations, Blake, and thank you, Jen. The next Raptor Award of the evening, the Student Leader Award, is presented to a student who best exemplifies the values of UMR through initiative, fostering the potential of others, and influencing the campus through actions and involvement. Will these nominees please stand to be recognized? Lauren Anderson. Samantha Krebs. Cannon O'Day. Hannah Kornstrom. Danielle Shreb. And Danny Turin. And faculty member Shanna Altrichter will come forward to present the award.
Adjust it back up. While she graduated in December, Lauren Anderson has positively influenced the UMR campus in the 3.5 years she spent on this campus through her dedication, leadership, and passion for both UMR and those around her. Lauren held several leadership positions while at UMR. She was the student representative to the Board of Regents, served as the director for the Ketones a cappella group, served as an orientation and welcome week leader, was on the system-wide strategic planning committee, served on the Chancellor's Committee to Prevent Sexual Misconduct, and was the UAA for both psychology and biology. She also served on the Rochester Student Association for 2 years. She served in yet another leadership role in her directed research under Dr. Robert Dunbar, facilitating weekly lab meetings and creatively tackling her research materials. Outside of UMR, Lauren was very busy working at Hiawatha Homes, volunteering with Mayo Pediatrics, and singing with the Autumn Ridge Praise Band. Lauren's leadership style is one that gets things done. She takes a great deal of initiative and is never afraid to back down from a challenge or to speak up when she thinks that there is inequity or something that can be done to better serve students at UMR. Lauren absolutely embodies intellectual and practical skills. She is a sharp communicator, has demonstrated scientific inquiry in her research experiences at Mayo and at UMR, has applied quantitative literacy in advocacy roles with the Board of Regents, and her research, and so much more. Perhaps what best exemplifies her demonstration of these skills is her current project, which she started in the fall as the principal investigator in a qualitative research study on women's health and sexuality. In this experience, she has redesigned a research study, cleared innumerable hurdles around IRB approval and other administrative details, and performed many hours of interviews with women about their attitudes about reproductive processes. Lauren has absolutely been a leader during her time here. Her mark will be felt on UMR for many years to come. Please join me in congratulating Lauren.
Congratulations, Lauren, and all the nominees, and thank you, Shannon. Our last award of the evening is the Difference Maker Award, and this award is presented to a group who contributes to the cultural growth and development of the UMR community by assisting students, faculty, and staff in learning multiple perspectives and experiences. Will these student groups please stand to be recognized? The African Cultural Club. The Global Connections Living Learning Community. And the Pre-Professional Club. Brett Sheevy, UMR's Director of Intercultural Learning and Engagement, will be presenting this award.
Hello. I'm excited to honor the Global Connections community for the Difference Maker Award this year. The Global Connections community, or GCC, has been extremely active this year in helping others with their intercultural learning and development. They have offered opportunities for learning both on campus and off campus. Members of GCC have been integral into various on-campus initiatives and programs to introduce and discuss various cultural identities. GCC members have been part of diversity dialogues, and have also been part of or organized their own programs, such as the Peace Walk, some spring roll making, Rainbow Community Connections, Rise Above Islamophobia, Intercultural Fair, and the Rochester World Festival. Without GCC's contributions to intercultural learning opportunities on our campus, UMR students would not have such robust, extensive opportunities for development. In addition to the on-campus work GCC offers, the group has been volunteering in a classroom at the Rochester Arts and Sciences Academy, or RASA. The initiative was developed by the Advisory Council for GCC, Siri Tasa, Danny Turin, and Sierra Machado. These students found value in the conversations around the IDI and the curriculum and in the mission of the Global Connections community, and thought that the conversation should start at an earlier age, such as in elementary school. The 3 council members reached out to RASA to inquire about the possibility of visiting with their students to introduce them to concepts of intercultural competence. The students have been volunteering in the class once or twice a month for about an hour to talk about various aspects of culture. The council members have involved other members of GCC as well. The initiative not only provides opportunities for learning for the students of RASA, but also for members of GCC. GCC members are able to gain not only self-awareness by sharing more about their own cultures with the elementary students, but are also able to learn about the cultures of the students that they're engaging with. The UMR Student Learning and Development outcome of social engagement is about learning to interact with people from diverse backgrounds. GCC students are creating opportunities for this, not only for UMR students, but also for students and members of the Rochester community. So GCC students, if you could join me on the stage.
Because we want to get a photo of all the nominees and all the award winners in just a moment, so no need to run away. I want to thank you all for coming to this third annual Raptor Awards ceremony, and know that all of the striving and all of the work, whether seen or unseen, whether one has received an award or done an act of kindness or studied one extra hour and seen it paid off, all of that work is worthy in its own right. And it is a time of year to almost rest and to be proud of accomplishments that have come our way through hard work. So I want to ask now that all the Raptor Award winners and nominees come to the stage. Nominees, we have a pin for you, and we want to take a photo of all of you. So thank you for being here, and thank you for this great year.